Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Singh. Joyce, I have some bad news for you. We are not hosting the Oscars this year.
Well, I didn't want to host Oscars, so it's fine by me.
Seems like
I don't want to do anything.
Perhaps many people did not want to host the Oscars because we
That's
went
true.
from
John Hamm did not.
John Hamm reportedly had
he's just doing ads for Apple.
Yep. So. We went from Zendaya and Tom Holland to Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez. And no offense to the hosts they ended up with, Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes, but they are not at the level, let's say, of a Steve Martin and Martin Short or Zendaya and Tom Holland, I would say.
No, but it's fine. I don't care. I don't need hosts. So
we went no host for 3 years in a row, and you know what? The show went on, and
I don't care about hosts. I know people do, and it's like a whole thing.
I mean, I would say
I don't care.
It's not disingenuous that they didn't have hosts, because obviously now they'll promote these hosts as they're hosting the Oscars. But the year Kevin Hart flamed out, I think it was Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, and Maya Rudolph did an opening, right? That was just like having a host. They were funny. It worked.
They definitely went out to them first, and then they said no.
Oh yeah, I think they went. I actually think they went to Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez first.
But they're filming season 2 right now.
They said that they were very upfront about wouldn't it be great if we could have that synergy with our favorite Hulu comedy before the Emmys kick into gear, and they ended up with Life After Beth, which is Amy Schumer's comedy, and Regina Hall, who has an Amazon movie. But Joyce, the bigger thing about the show this week, besides the hosts, because we're going to watch anyway, and really, not who cares, but who cares? The fan favorite Oscar. It's not an Oscar.
Well, there's two.
There's the fan favorite award, where people on Twitter, regular old folks, can go vote as many as 20 times a day, I think it is, or 20 times between now and March 2nd or 3rd, to vote for their fan favorite movie, which is basically the Spider-Man No Way Home inaugural award. And then there also is the fan favorite moment, which I assume will be when Peter Parker 3, or Peter 3 as we know him.
Wow. Call him correctly.
When Peter 3 comes through the portal, feels like another fan favorite moment. But Joyce, what do you think? This is basically they exhumed the popular film Oscar, and instead of making it an actual award, have now shunted it off to people on Twitter to make an impact, and it presumably get people to watch to see if Spider-Man wins, or maybe another movie wins. I don't know what would be.
This is going to completely backfire on them.
So last time the Oscars, we only have to go back to last year when the Oscars tried to manufacture a viral moment by putting Best Actor last, when the late Chadwick Boseman was largely expected to win, and then he didn't win. Anthony Hopkins won, and not only won, but we knew he wasn't at the show because of the coronavirus pandemic raging.
And also he just doesn't attend these things anymore, which is cool.
So he didn't even attend, and they had to end the show with Joaquin Phoenix going, shrug, basically. And it was the most anticlimactic ending in the history of award shows.
That's why they should have ended with Best Actress, like they should do this year.
Certainly should, or even anything better than what they did, but they tried to manufacture them and it failed. So this year they're trying to manufacture we didn't nominate Spider-Man. They got a lot of backlash, or it was funny. Jimmy Kimmel was very unhappy that Spider-Man didn't get picked up. Kevin Smith, for some reason, went viral talking about why we care about Kevin Smith. I like Kevin Smith movies.
It's also disingenuous because they just care about Marvel. There are populist movies nominated, including pretty much every year. Like Dune was a hit.
Including this year, Don't Look Up, which according to Netflix has been watched 500 billion times. So clearly it's popular.
They nominated Bohemian Rhapsody, which made $1 billion. They nominated Joker.
Black Panther.
People Black Panther, an actual Marvel movie. So they just wanted
Spider-Man. Yeah. So now this award, the fan favorite award, which you can vote on, is basically engineered for Spider-Man. I almost can imagine them getting Zendaya and Tom Holland to hand it out. And then what happens?
What is it even? It's not an actual Oscar. They're just going to say it.
It's maybe it's a printed out tweet. You know how Trump used to print out his tweets for his press conferences? Maybe it's that.
Yeah, you just blow up the tweet.
They're going to blow up the tweet that says Spider-Man won. But what if it loses? I just would love that.
I think it can lose. Yeah. Because there's a huge campaign for the Suicide Squad.
Correct. So there was also, I saw a huge viral moment for the Snyder cut, but that's not actually eligible, because if you read the fine print of the fan favorite awards, I think it actually is only movies that were actually under consideration for Oscars can win. So all those people who are voting presumably for Justice League will have their votes tossed aside, and then they could complain about that on social media, most likely, when it loses. But yeah, I don't know, Dune, Spider-Man, what other ones? Shang-Chi, I could see getting a big push, maybe. Another.
I mean, I don't know. I can see it backfiring. And I kind of want it to backfire because they're just pandering to the wrong people. This is the show's entire problem. We've talked about this before numerous times. Like, they're trying to chase like phantom viewers who are not going to watch the show because you're going to hand out a Twitter hashtag award, quote unquote, to probably Spider-Man.
The other one I had a problem with, Joyce, is to while we're trashing this notion, is the what was it? Magical moment. What was it called, Joyce?
No, so this one is hashtag Oscars fan favorite, which is the film, and then there's hashtag Oscars cheer moment, which is your favorite moment from a film.
Again, seemingly designed to get like that video of everybody in the audience on opening night of Spider-Man of cheering that went viral like in December, getting that on the show. But I was like, if you're going to do, like, first of all, these aren't real categories. They're not real Oscars. So it is just like so silly. It becomes like the People's Choice Awards, which is not why you're watching the Oscars. Second of all, if you're going to go so far to do like cheer moment, why not just do like best scene or why don't you just create a category? That would be my hot take. Like, people have been saying we should do stunts. Obviously, like the SAG Awards does like stunt ensemble. You could combine that with like a more populist, in air quotes, idea, and have it be like best action, like best stunt scene, and it would be like, you could have like it would be like the platonic ideal of that would be like the Shang-Chi bus sequence, right? Like, it's like that scene's dope. Whatever you think of the movie, that scene is really cool. And then you get like nominees like that, and it's like, oh, you're rewarding like the stunt teams or choreographers or whatever it is, rather than the what I can't. It's so
cheer moment. Hey, listen, moment. You submitted one.
I did. I submitted Logan saying I effing win on Succession. That was my cheer moment, because I could literally count on one hand the amount of times I went like this at the TV in the last year.
You cheered. You literally
that was one cheered. Of them, literally cheering. And then also the second time I did it was this past Sunday at the Super Bowl when Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre rolled out for the halftime show. I was like,
I mean, after that halftime show, I was like, I might actually log on and vote for this, even though it's in 2022.
It was definitely a cheer moment for sure. Cheering at the screen.
I mean, listen, I'm an Eminem stan, so I was like,
Eminem just lighting it on fire.
Bring it back to the Oscars 2 years later. Again.
You know what? Totally fine with it. That was a great moment. Bring them all back.
Just lose yourself another Oscar, please.
What if Dre and Snoop open the show again? Just play it.
Just redo that entire halftime show as the opening.
People
will tune in for that.
No offense again to the host, would automatically be better than anything they're going to plan as the host opening. But so those are the fan favorite. Joyce, what would be your cheer moment, I guess? I
mean, I would also do a Succession moment, which I did. The imaginary dead cat, obviously.
Another winner. I guess
MVP Colin, best supporting actor.
Love Colin.
Scott Nicholson.
Colin a SAG award. I don't even know if he's on the list of SAG nominees, actually.
He is. I think he is. There's like 20 people.
Amazing. Get Colin a SAG award just for that moment. I don't know what movie moments I would say, like, I don't know a lot of cheer moments beyond Spider-Man, I guess, but I guess we'll see what it ends up being. Maybe it'll be something different. Do you think they'll try to rig? The other thing is they could like rig this, I feel like, because it's like social media. So they could just be like, who knows how many bots they're getting. I mean, I don't know how they're going to
for sure. Yeah.
And they want people to vote a lot to create the engagement, I guess. But anyway, we have we'll be talking about that, I guess, because the show's not until March 27th. So they have a lot of time to prepare the fan favorite moment. And
what, voting closes March 2nd or something?
I think they got to really have a lot of time to tabulate the votes. I mean, again, we'll move on from this, but I guess the other issue I had is like, you're just admitting it's the same problem I had with the popular Oscar, because like the idea of the popular Oscar then makes you say like the movies that are nominated for Best Picture aren't popular, right? Or aren't worthy of popularity.
Yeah, it's just like it just reeks of like insecurity.
Right. And so like it's like insulting to the movies that are nominated, because like in theory, all of these movies that were nominated, even Drive My Car is like a fan favorite because like the movies have fans, and you're basically like, now you're saying
they
like,
voted for it, they put it at number one.
Right. Now you're saying like, well, these are the real fan favorites. It just is like, I just think it's a little icky. I guess it doesn't.
And also, you're not going to get the viewers. Like, I don't understand why people are so obsessed with ratings, like not the award shows and just TV in general. Like, you're not going to get them back. Like, media is so fragmented now.
You're seeing that with your beloved Olympics. It's like no one's like comparatively.
I don't care. I watched the Olympics. I'm watching it right now. I'm watching Canada versus Sweden. Like, but people aren't watching it caters to me because I am a fan of the Olympics. So I'm watching it, and you should cater to your fans. Like, I think they're suffering from a complex. Like everyone knows the Oscars are the big dog, right?
Right.
Like, it will always be the award show that everyone knows, regardless of whether you're a movie fan or not. Like, people know what the Oscars are, but it's not being watched anymore because of, a billion streaming services, just internet in general, like digital media. People don't need to watch the Oscars to know who won. That's the thing. We're not, in 98 watching like Titanic win a billion Oscars, because that was the only way for you to see if it could win an Oscar in the moment.
The other thing is it reminds me too of like, I mean, people said this, like, we'll move on. I promise we'll move past this, but I was just like, it reminds me of like when Game of Thrones was ending, everyone was like, it's like the last show of the monoculture or whatever. And not that debate aside, I feel like when Titanic was winning Oscars, if that's like the ideal moment for the Oscars, like the late 90s, like whatever, when, or even like into like Return of the King, when these were movies that were embraced so broadly in culture. And I think now even these massive movies like Spider-Man is different, I guess, because it's Marvel, and like the Marvel movies have like their own thing, but they're like, I don't know, the world is not the same. Like, there's so, like you said, there's so many options, and like people don't like rally around like specific things just the way they used to, because they have so many other options.
You just consume things differently, and people also have a shorter attention span now. So the Spider-Man stands, they're not gonna sit through a 3.5 hour show just to watch their movie lose, because it's not gonna win, even if it's like nominated for Best Picture,
Right. So, the other thing you mentioned, the other thing I think about it is that the one issue I have with the idea of like this, and just like in general, like if you're gonna make the change, the Oscars are the big dog, and like we watch that because like we want the validation of knowing that like this was an Oscar, and it's like I've seen people like comparing it like to the Pulitzer Prize, like all these things now, that it's like more of a niche thing, but it obviously has such a big, heavy, like a huge weight behind it. But I'm like, then if you're going to do that, then like, then add an actual try to get like the act, like, I don't know, I'd be fine with adding categories rather than like doing like a fan voting thing. I don't know. I would say like, come up with like a way to do it.
Like stop chasing people who don't care about you. Right. Like, so the other like news cycle last week was like Seth Rogen's quotes, which were completely misconstrued as well, because what he was actually saying was that, like, why are we so obsessed with trying to get people who don't care about our industry to watch the Oscars? Because he's like, I don't care about automobile awards. I'm like, I don't care about automobile awards either, Seth. Like, I'm not going to watch those.
Right. That was
cater to the people who actually care about the movies and Oscars, like us. And I'm gonna make a reference to my other beloved sport, tennis.
Yes.
So this, I know, shocking, right? So like this kind of reminds me of like when like the past decade, like tennis has like a complicated relationship with like social media. So like tennis Twitter, a lot of fan accounts tweet, funny moments, like viral moments, or like an amazing point, right? Like right after it happens. And it's gotten like a little bit better over the years with like the actual tournaments, like tweeting out the footage right away. But for a while, like in the past decade, like the official accounts, or like especially the French Federation behind the French Open, would just crack down on these fan accounts, like, pull down the tweet, and Twitter would deactivate the user's account. And it's like a whole thing. They have to reactivate it. And it's not like those tweets get pulled down and then they put up the official clip. It's just like this whole copyright thing. And it's like, it's just doing such a disservice to the sport, because these are just fans. They're not getting paid to tweet out this GIF that everyone wants to see over and over again. Like, they're promoting the sport that you're not doing your job to promote.
Correct.
And like, this is a way to, pull in like new fans, maybe if they see this amazing porn or this like really emotional moment, and maybe they'll watch like that person's next match. So, and I feel like, like one sport that really embraced like social media was like the NBA. Like they were always just on top of it and like always tweeting out like big moments, viral moments, and just embracing it. And I think so, like the point is, I think like both like the Oscars and like tennis back then, like they're just getting in their own way. Like you're being your own worst enemy by just not loving yourself and loving your fans. Like the Oscars should be catering to us, not people who don't care about you.
I think that's true. I really do. I think it's like, it reminds me, the last thing on this, and then we'll move on. And I'm glad you brought up tennis because I want to talk about my favorite.
I know. I put on my US Open hoodie just for this because
you, a great segue.
Warned me about what you were going to say.
I guess I would say just all pivoting of like, or it's yes, ending what you were saying there is the idea that it's like when Mad Men was on, right? Like Mad Men was not widely watched, but like the people who watched it were obsessed. And then as a result, like they were able to, like the network was like able to sell a higher ad rate, like the sponsorships they were able to get like the niche sponsors and stuff like that because it was a successful show within that demographic or whatever it is. I'm like, I feel like the Oscars should be like that too. Like they could be getting comfortably like 10 to 15 million people to watch that show, way less than like has ever watched it. Obviously last year, barely more than 10 million people watched it. But I'm like, you could always get that 10 to 15 probably. And they're all going to be like really obsessed and like into it. And isn't it better to have people who are like really engaged with it and excited about it than like trying to just napalm or like get like a huge amount of people to do it. Like it seems to me that it would be, but obviously I'm not a network television executive or a member of the Academy board. So what do I know? But yeah, Joyce, I guess we'll talk more about the show, but I wanted to bring up King Richard because I think, Joyce, that if we're looking for a movie that could beat Power of the Dog, what if it's King Richard? That was my hot take. Here's why.
And you're making this claim not just because you recently talked to Anjanou Ellis.
I talked to Anjanou.
We know your MO.
I talked to Anjanou Ellis. I've talked to Ronaldo Marcus Green. I've talked to Zach Baylin, Oscar nominee. I do enjoy the movie, and I have talked to people. So I'm definitely like not an unbiased observer. But I was just looking at the nominations and stuff, and basically like Power of the Dog it remains like an overwhelming choice, right? For Best Picture. I want to look here at our the Oscar odds and rankings. Hang on. I feel like it's running away with it. On our odds, 3,000 people, more than 3,000 people have it winning. The next closest movie is Belfast, and it barely has over 250 picking it. So the overwhelming choice is Power of the Dog. The reason I thought King Richard maybe compete is a few things. A, it's the only movie other than Power of the Dog that has a screenwriting nomination, an acting nomination, and the editing nomination, in addition to Best Picture, right? So like those are like key ones. It obviously missed Best Director and like whatever. It's not the greatest. I'm just saying, like those are like three. Those are like that's like at least it's like definitely got like a lot of support on that front. And then the other thing is like we've been talking about like crowd pleasing movies. And we both have said like Belfast is not a crowd pleaser, right? Like it's like a maybe heartwarming would be better descriptor, but it's not crowd pleasing. You're not watching that movie and you're not leaving going like, yeah, like you're not, it's not a cheer moment. Not a hashtag cheer moment. But King Richard is absolutely a hashtag cheer moment. And I wonder if more people are watching it and it has like a good life in the second phase here, can it like make itself presentable as like the alternative option to Power of the Dog, and does it in a preferential ballot actually have enough support as like a 2-3 to win? I don't think it does. I'm not predicting it. I still have Power of the Dog winning, but I do wonder if it's like, is King Richard actually the alternate choice rather than like Belfast or West Side Story, which are seemingly the popular 2 and 3s for our odds, and even just from pundits who I've seen like predicting Belfast to win actually. But I don't know. What do you think? I guess the only way this could be possible, and then I'll let you tell me why it's completely stupid, is it could win at SAG in the ensemble category. Obviously, that doesn't have like a great correlation to Best Picture and like is kind of meaningless in the grand scheme of like predictions. But I think if it wins at SAG over Belfast and Coda, other Best Picture nominees, and Don't Look Up, does that like give it a little boost, and are like people going to take it more seriously? And it is an enjoyable movie. I don't think it's not like a slam. This is it's a wrong metaphor because it's the wrong sport. It's not like a slam dunk, like
you could just say ace or a winner.
It's not a winner, Joyce. It's not like an ace.
Is it game set match for King Richard?
It's not game set match. It's not a winner, but it's like that is like a solid like solid movie. I feel like it's like if I was giving
it's a very good sports movie.
It's a very good sports movie. It's like it delivers what's on the box. And I think if you're sitting there watching it at home, you're going to be like, yeah, I like this movie. And I think, again, like Power of the Dog obviously is the front runner, and like it's done very well. People have watched it. Millions of people have watched it seemingly at home. Netflix this week sent around that like it made it back in the top 10.
It returned to
the top 10, which means like people are obviously checking it out post Oscar nominations. And like, obviously the industry, I feel like, has already watched it. So it's like, it's got 12 nominations and it's the front runner for a reason. But I'm like, does King Richard maybe play better at home? I could argue it does. And then does that like help it win? But Joyce, tell me why this is completely batty and like not going to happen.
Okay. So remember last week when I said, sometimes there's like a front runner and you know it's winning or you think it's winning and you just don't even think about the also rans, like what could be second, third or whatever.
Right.
This is one of those cases, like this category.
Right.
I'm like Power of the Dog. And then when I was like ranking everything last week, I was like, I don't know, like, because everything is missing something. Power of the Dog is the only one that hit everything that it needed. Right. Everything shook out perfectly for this movie, right?
Right.
And yeah, I understand why people have Belfast in second and blah blah blah, but wait, where are the
right now it's Belfast in second and then West Side Story.
But like everything is missing something, right? So Belfast missed editing and cinematography for a black and white movie.
Right.
Coda, it has no text, like lovely little movie, but it's probably in the bottom 5. It can definitely win SAG Ensemble, but right. That's the reality. Don't Look Up, it did not hit director, no acting nominations, nothing for Leo, sadly. What else is there? Drive My Car, that overperformed 4 nominations, but it's not like a Parasite of the season.
It doesn't seem like it is.
Dune, the directing snub, also no acting nominations, which also no one was expecting, but still. And then King Richard probably, to your point, has missed the fewest things. It got what it needed to. The editing nomination was great tennis scenes in that movie, but it missed director.
Yes.
And then Licorice Pizza, just the big 3 categories: picture, director, and writing for PTA.
Right.
Nightmare Alley, just text.
Right.
And then Power of the Dog, you talk about West Side Story, sadly missed screenplay for Tony Kushner and also editing. So all of its rivals missing something big. So Power of the Dog still on paper, still front runner. I see the King Richard argument, and I get all of that. I don't know, like, if it will also have the international support as well to pull it through, because it at BAFTA, it did better in the juried categories than it did in the general vote categories. It got a screenplay for Zach Balan, which also got here at the Oscars. And, it can't win director, obviously, because it's not nominated for that at the Oscars. And, typically for a Best Picture winner, you would need to win director or writing or both. And it can only win one. And I don't think anyone is predicting it to win original screenplay.
No.
It's not even like an alternate to either Belfast or Licorice Pizza, which is the top 2.
Right. I'm not saying, I guess the only way I could see it winning is, like I said, it's mostly like the Oscars are not for a while. So I'm wondering if, at least I'm always like, I'm fatigued on this front runners. We did this last year with Nomadland. I tried every different permutation.
Oh yeah. And like everyone wanted something else to win PGA just to have something different to talk about.
And it's like, it didn't really happen. So I understand that that's probably not going to happen this year, but I was like, I think if we're looking for a crowd pleaser alternative I think it's an easier sell for me to say King Richard than Belfast, I guess, even though Belfast got like the acting, directing, and screenwriting nominations as well. I just think that like from a crowd pleasing standpoint, King Richard is the
no, I agree with that as well. And I could see it being ranked higher than Belfast on ballots. But yeah, I don't know if like the international support is there, because it, even like Moonlight did poorly at BAFTA, but it still was nominated for Best Picture there.
Mm-hmm.
And King Richard was not. So
and then just while you're talking there, Belfast, the other thing I want to look at was original screenplay. I think there's a hope that Paul Thomas Anderson will win, but I absolutely think that's where Belfast will end up getting recognized, because I don't think it's going to win Best Picture, and I don't think it's going to win Best Director. And there is obviously an embrace of that movie from the Academy, and I think they're going to want to reward it somewhere, and then it's there. And I wonder if Licorice Pizza, in addition to being like slightly divisive, not because of like the Twitter controversies or anything, just because it's like we've said, it's like meandering and episodic and stuff. And like, it's also, well, I think it's awesome and I loved it so much. It's not like, if Paul Thomas Anderson is going to win an Oscar, I know they do make up Oscars, but I'm like, it's not as good as the other movies that he's been in contention for. And he had one for those. And I'm like, are people just going to be like, we're giving him an Oscar for this instead of like, we should have just done it for There Will Be Blood or something, So I don't know. I can see Licorice Pizza losing there, especially because it was also soft overall, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if Belfast were to win original screenplay, then everyone would just be like, it can win Best Picture, just like
it could.
But yeah, like because like it's not going to win anything else really, right?
It doesn't seem like it would win anything else.
Yeah, so it would need to pull a spotlight basically to.
I don't think it's gonna.
No, I mean, I don't have it winning Best Picture, but like that's like like it's not just going to win Best Picture. Like this is its best category is going to win, or like the other category it's most likely to win. So yeah, I think I have PTA in first right now, but no, I agree with that, because I think in the fall I was contemplating dumping PTA from director,
right?
Because I like looked at all his past movies and how they perform the Oscars, and it just seemed to like they respond more to his like really serious dramas, like There Will Be Blood and Phantom Thread, and everything else got max 3 nominations, and exactly like Licorice Pizza did,
right?
So but also Belfast is like little vignettes as well, just sort of like Licorice Pizza. Like they're very similar movies.
They're similar, and I mean, I think personally Licorice Pizza is better, but I could obviously the Academy would not agree with me, because I think they were more inclined to appreciate.
I know. See, like I love this category, and if there's one winner in the past decade I don't like. So.
I wonder what that was. I can't.
I know. It's so hard. It's like you have 3 guesses. So
I will say, right now, according to your odds, it's Licorice Pizza overwhelming pick, Belfast, then Don't Look Up. I don't imagine a world where Don't Look Up wins, but it would be pretty. That would be a great That would be a cheer. That would be a hashtag cheer moment for sure. I'm sure
what else would be a hashtag Oscars cheer moment if Worst Person in the World won.
Yeah, people really like that movie, obviously, and that's in there as well. And Joyce, let's do before we wrap up here. Do you want to just briefly go back to Best Actress, which remains a scrum of I can't even.
What would we do without Best Actress?
I have no idea. I don't even know what to do with it now. I was looking at it today just before we were talking. I was like, what if Penelope Cruz wins? Like, could that happen?
Sure, yeah.
Why not? Any of these people could win. I think we both still have Nicole Kidman in first. And I guess we'll just keep holding her there until like the SAG Awards, maybe. I don't know. If she lost at the SAG Awards, I would probably think about, moving her off, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to do anything until the SAG Awards either. I have her at SAG too. But even if she were to win SAG, I don't think that would lock her in for the Oscar either. And I said this last week, I think, or maybe in our column, but I sort of hope we have different winners everywhere, just because I want more chaos.
It would be the one thing one of the reasons why I think we will have different winners everywhere. And also, like, I think it's even going into the Oscars, I still don't know how settled it will be. Like, even if Nicole Kidman wins at SAG, like, and the Critics' Choice Awards, like, I don't want even bet, like, I'd still say like 50-50 she doesn't win the Oscar, is because like none of these performances, and I think they're all good performances, are like the best performances these actors have given. And it's like weird to think like, is Nicole Kidman going to win her second Oscar for being the Ricardos instead of like, something else she's done? And Jessica Chastain, who's been awesome in like other stuff, is very good. Like, obviously, I think she's great in Eyes of Tammy Faye, but it's like not like her top 3 performance, right? I don't think so. It's just interesting to me that like all these are like kind of similar to Best Picture, where you could like go through outside of Power of the Dog and be like, miss this, not as good as this, or whatever. I feel like Best Actress is a little like that too. And it makes it harder to pick than for me who could actually win. So I'm like just holding with Nicole Kidman, but I don't know. I was really like, oh, Penelope Cruz maybe should win, because the same reason, like you've been saying it for months, the Sony Classics father route for Anthony Hopkins, just like kind of like stealth.
Listen,
stealth
the thing in Penelope's favor, even though she missed everything until this, is that I don't think that movie Parallel Mothers has reached peak visibility yet. Like not among like general public, but even just among like voting bodies, because obviously she missed after long list. But she made it here. Got those number ones from the acting branch. So now for the entire Academy, it's nominated here and also for score.
Right.
So like you would be more inclined to check it out. And then she also has that narrative of like being nominated with her husband, you know? So that's like cool. So like it piques more curiosity. And I like these other 4 movies, like Spencer's been out for 84 years, right?
It's
like
actually now finally streaming, Joyce. I saw when I opened up Hulu this week to watch Abbott Elementary, which I think is a great show.
Are you predicting it for the Emmys?
I am. I sure am. I got multiple Abbott Elementary people in there, and you could predict the Emmys now, Joyce, at goldderby.com. What a plug. I saw it was up there, and I'm like, wow, people can watch this now. Interesting.
Yeah, like normies can watch it, but voters.
Can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what the the Rotten Tomatoes audience score is for Spencer as it gets more widely watched. Gonna be great.
Yeah, you should definitely track that. We'll check it next week. But the industry has seen that movie, did not like it, obviously.
No, I don't have Kristen Stewart winning. I know at least I think Scott Feinberg has her winning choice, but I do not believe that she can win personally, but we'll see. She could, I guess, because anybody can win.
I mean, listen, she's nominated, so she can.
Yeah, that's true. So it is factually possible.
She's in the race.
She is in the race.
Yeah, but I don't think people are now checking out the movie, or there's not a lot of people checking out the movie or watching it again.
I think the only that's why I think you could end up making a case for like Olivia Colman and Penelope Cruz being like the top tier contenders here, only because while Being the Ricardos is definitely the most seen of these movies, like Amazon had said it was like, or Nielsen said it was a big hit, and they never released these numbers officially, and who knows, but certainly that was like the most popular or most watched of these movies from a public standpoint, and probably from a voting standpoint as well. I think you could argue that the best movies are Lost Daughter and Parallel Mothers, and more people watch them, the less polarizing that would be. Lost Daughter is a little polarizing, but most people I know who have seen it, and just in general, it seems like people did respond to the movie, and obviously Jesse Bucket got in as well, so it's not like that movie was unwatched.
The divisive response to Lost Daughter is mostly amongst just like regular moviegoers, because I think it was very clear, like even when it hit Netflix on New Year's Eve, that people in the industry loved the movie and Olivia's performance, whereas there's just a lot of just regular folks being like, what the hell, it's about a doll.
But it's so good. Why? It's really good. It's actually like not a movie I would ever like. I remember when Netflix like released like right before Telluride, they did a bunch of like first look stuff with like Vanity Fair. Do you remember that? They were doing like, it's like that was like clearly their strategy, like we're gonna put up like our like Cyrano, or it wasn't even Cyrano, they did like Power of the Dog and like Lost Daughter with Vanity Fair or whatever. And I remember reading that article and being like, wow, this is not for me. It sounds good. Like I love Maggie Gyllenhaal, like everybody in it is great, but she's not for me. It's not a Chris movie. And then I saw it and I was like, this is great. So I was like, I think people would like it if they watched it.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry. It's not sad, but it's cool. And it's like, I knew it was good right away. If you're watching Lost Daughter, you're either in or out in like the first 30 seconds because it starts at the end. And, it opens with like Olivia Colman like stumbling out to a beach and like falling down. And then the title card slams in with that awesome score that somehow wasn't shortlisted. And it's like amazing. Dick and Hinckliffe did the score. And it's like this like heist 60s, 70s, like kind of like thriller vibe. And I'm like, this rules, like automatically good. So
the other thing, I think I mentioned this before when like last month when it came out, but I think one of the reasons for the low audience scores for this movie and also Power of the Dog is because it is like they're both on Netflix, which just presents itself to a large swath of people who are not typically the type of people who would seek out these movies. Like if these movies were not on a streaming service, like they just open in limited release, it would be people like us going to see it.
Nobody
like
would see them.
We're seeking it out, like, but the general public are not going to go pay to see The Lost Daughter or The Power of the Dog. But if they're just looking for someone to watch on Netflix because they finished watching like Squid Game or whatever, and then they, Netflix plays like that trailer, and the trailer is cut like a thriller, like a heist movie, like a mystery, and it draws you in. And they did the same thing with the Power of the Dog trailer too. So it's, great marketing tool to get someone to click play,
They're great.
But I understand if they feel like, it was a bait and switch and this is not what they expected. And that's why they rated it low.
Right. But for audiences, I'll tell you what, for voters, I think they really responded to it. So I could see like the case for Olivia Colman and Penelope Cruz being the top two, though I still have Nicole Kidman there just because she's Nicole Kidman.
I think Olivia is now like first overall in the odds.
I think in our odds she is. Let's take a look here quick. It is before we wrap up, Joyce. But we have Olivia Colman, though more people are it's funny, like she's the top choice in the odds, basically like dead heat with Nicole. Nicole has like 1,400 voters, and Olivia has 900 in our combined odds. Jessica Chastain third, Kristen Stewart fourth, and Penelope Cruz fifth. So it shows you what I know, that I would say like Penelope Cruz should be like a top tier contender here, but
I'm not surprised Penelope is fifth overall, just with like everyone taken into account, because I also feel like a lot of the general public has not seen Parallel Mothers, and also we know K-Stu, a lot of stands. Very happy for her to make it in here,
Big K-Stu fan base, I think. And they were very happy. I think last week when we wrote about Best Actress, we got a lot of response then in our column, Joyce, from K-Stu.
I'm happy she got it, because we talked about like how it must suck to, be told you're going to win an Oscar for like 5 months.
Yep.
And then be on the verge of being snubbed.
I tell you this, we'll wrap up here, but I watched Marry Me last week. Can you watch that, Joyce, on Peacock?
I have not, because I can't watch anything while I'm watching the Olympics, so I'll be watching it after.
I'll tell you this, my take of the way from the movie, this is Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson rom-com that Universal released.
I love a J-Lo rom-com.
And on Peacock, so you can watch it if you're a Peacock subscriber. Say that like 3 times fast. And I would say it's definitely more rom than com, but it's like a like that kind of laugh. It's not like like I watched I Want You Back with Charlie Day and Jenny Slate. That one I was actually laughing out loud at because I think they're really funny. And J-Lo and Owen Wilson, very sweet, just like like that. But the whole movie, my read of it was J-Lo. It basically is J-Lo who produced the movie and like kind of is the creative force behind a lot of it, even though she didn't write it or direct it. It was basically like her response to being snubbed by Hustlers. Excuse me. That was my take, because it's like.
Well, I've seen that line that he says like award shows don't matter or something, right?
Because she's like, no one takes me. It's like basically like no one takes me seriously as an artist and this and that, and it's so hard. And as a woman over 35, and they say in the movie, even though J-Lo's over 50 in real life, it's like it's much difficult, and it just kind of is like it's very much a lot of her processing. I think like getting snubbed, or at least either subconsciously or actually doing it. And yeah, so like to your point about Kristen Stewart, I'm like, it sucks when you've been told like for months that you're like, oh, this is a great performance, you're going to get an Oscar nomination for the first time, and then you don't get it. Like that's got to really stink. So I was glad to see Kristen Stewart get in.
Yeah, and she deserves it. It was a great performance. So
it definitely is like, why she deserves it too, because it's like she's going for it. I'm appreciative of when people are doing it, right? Like and Nicole Kidman is like this too. Like that is a performance, both of them, but for Kristen certainly, that it's like if it's bad, it's like all time bad, and like people are gonna like mock it, I think, honestly. And it's like that she just was like, I'm just gonna do this and do the way I think it should be. It's like she deserves the flowers for it. So I was glad to see that she was nominated, though I don't have her winning, though who knows, maybe if I read enough of the pundits going there, maybe I'll like start brainwashing myself.
You know what, she can win now because she was nominated, Critics' Choice.
That's true. I could see her winning Critics'
Choice. Do you think there'll be a tie at Critics' Choice?
No, I think she'll win Critics' Choice. I think Nicole will win SAG, Kristen will win Critics' Choice, and then
what about BAFTA, where none of them are?
I think actually Alana Haim might win BAFTA still, or maybe Renate Reinsve. One of them will win BAFTA. So then we'll end up going into the Oscars with Nicole having won SAG, or Jessica Chastain having won SAG, Kristen winning Critics' Choice, and obviously no nominees winning at BAFTA, and then we'll just like go from there and see what happens. And I don't know.
Yeah, I can see Jessica winning SAG. I kind of want Jessica and Andrew Garfield to win SAG.
That would be great. I've actually now gone back to I think Will is going to win SAG.
Because you think King Richard is number 2.
I do. And I think in push comes to shove, as much as everybody loves Andrew Garfield, like it's still Will Smith, and you're going to have like radio producers and commercial voiceover people and like, local weathermen being like, yeah, hell yeah, I love Will Smith. I'm voting for him. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that because that's like we've said, like the SAG voting body is huge now, right? It's like, it's AFTRA included. So that was my.
But you know what? Andrew is a lot bigger on TikTok.
He is. No, he is. I understand. I will say I've also like, it's one of those weird things when you're like, you ever notice it? Like, not that we're always like talking to like-minded people, but I'm like, oh, I thought everybody loved Tick Tick Boom. And I was listening to like Bill Simmons' podcast yesterday, and he was just trashing it, him and Sean Fennessy on The Ringer. And I was like,
it took me like halfway through the movie to like really get into it, because I've said I'm not like a huge musical person. Like I appreciate musicals. Like I love West Side Story.
Right.
But it's just that movie is Tick Tick Boom is a lot, but he's great in it.
He's awesome.
And a well-deserved editing nomination. So
it did. I was just shocked that I was like, it was like weird encountering people who didn't love Tick Tick Boom. They were like just crapping all over, and I was like, wait, really? Like this? There are real people who don't like this? What?
So I mean, I'm sure you have like your non-industry friends to like ask you around this time like what they should be watching, right? Yeah. So yeah, my friends have been asking me that, especially like after last week. Like one of them was like, do I need to watch all 10 of these? Because like he has a kid, he has like no time. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need to watch all 10. Not that he can see Licorice Pizza now anyway, because it's not like streaming anywhere. So, but yeah, so like one of them has watched Tick Tick Boom, but she was like, I wasn't into the movie, but like he's amazing.
Right.
Everybody
does.
I think that's the sentiment for a lot of people. And I do think like if Tick Tick Boom had gotten that Best Picture nomination, he would, things would be looking a lot better for him. So
right.
But
Joyce, I hate to wrap up here, but I gotta wrap up because it looks like I had somebody at the door. So
oh no. Is another like wine delivery?
I don't know, but we'll find out. Okay. This is great, Joyce. I'll talk to you next week. All right. Bye.
Bye.